Hello everyone, my name is Devin and this is my week 2 assignment for FTT106. Today I'm going to be going over 5 different types of firearm systems and explaining where the fouling builds up and why it happens. And I'll even give you some tips on which tools work best for getting rid of it. First up is your manually operated firearms like bolt actions. These don't cycle on their own, so fouling builds up differently. Some critical fouling areas include the chamber, the bolt face, locking lugs, and barrel. Most fouling here is carbon, powder residue, and sometimes even copper in the barrel. Now let's look at why it happens. Since the shooter manually cycles the firearm, then the gas and residue stay in the chamber and barrel instead of getting blown out like in semi-auto firearms. Now some tools you're going to want to keep handy are going to be your bore brush for your barrel fouling, your chamber brush for your chamber buildup, and a nylon brush for your bolt face. These tools work well because they can reach tight areas without damaging the parts. This is important because we do not want to be sending back damaged firearms to our customers. Next up we have revolvers. These actually get dirty in more places than people think. Some critical fouling areas on the revolver are going to be the cylinder chambers, the cylinder face, forcing cone, and the top strap. Here you'll see carbon, lead, and powder buildup. Now let's look at why it happens. When the revolver fires, gas escapes from the gap between the cylinder and the barrel. That spreads fouling all over the firearm. Now some tools you're going to keep handy for the revolver are going to be your brass brush for your chambers, your lead remover for heavy deposits, your CLP, and your cloth patches. Revolvers need more scrubbing because of that gas escape through the gap. Now let's move on to blowback firearms. Blowback guns are usually small calibers like a .22 or a pistol caliber carbine, like a 9mm. Now some critical fouling areas on this are going to be the bolt face, the chamber, and the receiver. Mostly carbon and powder fouling on this platform. Now why it happens are these rely on pressure pushing the bolt back so that way the dirty gas gets blown straight into the action. Now some tools you want to keep handy are going to be your nylon brush for the receiver, your picks for those tight corners, and your CLP attaches again. These tools help clean the action without damaging the parts. Now let's move into semi-auto handguns. Now semi-auto handguns, like most modern pistols, have critical fouling areas such as the feed ramp, barrel, slide rails, and the breech face. Fouling here is mostly carbon and powder residue. Now this happens on semi-auto handguns. When the slide cycles, it spreads fouling across moving parts, especially where metal touches metal. Now some tools we're going to want to keep handy are going to be your bore brush for your barrel, your nylon brush for those rails, and some Q-tips for those small, hard to reach spots. These tools help clean moving parts without overwearing them. Now let's move on to semi-auto long guns. Last is semi-auto long guns like the AR-15, which I'm using as my example. Some critical fouling areas include the bolt carrier group, commonly known as the BCG, your gas system, your chamber, and your bolt tail. Fouling here is heavy carbon and sometimes copper. Now why does this happen? This system uses gas to cycle the bolt, so dirty gas is pushed directly into the bolt carrier group. Now some tools you want to keep handy are going to be your carbon scrapers for your bolt tail, chamber brush for your chamber, picks for those tight areas, and CLP for breaking down that fouling. These tools are important because ARs get really dirty in the bolt area. Now to sum it up, each firearm system creates fouling in different places depending on how it operates. Understanding where and why this fouling builds up helps you to clean your firearms better and safer. Using the right tools also prevents damage and keeps the firearm running properly. Thank you for watching.